All right. Welcome to DV Litigation live stream number 2, everybody. Making sure that it's working, and it's working on the Twitter. Okay. While we were waiting, we already got a great question from Romeo, and I was going to put him up there first. Yeah. So tonight's live, by the way, is just about DV litigation. DV 2020, DV 2021, DV 2022. That's all we're talking about tonight. And Romeo asks, Judge Mehta has reserved 6,914 diversity visas for the Goodluck-related plaintiffs, which is 31% of 22,303. What about the other 15,389 plaintiffs? This is a great question. Okay, so first of all, the 15,389 is not as scary as it appears, because in the last 3 days of September, about, I think, over 1,000 of those 15,389 were issued visas. So it's closer to like a little bit more than 14,000. Another thing to consider is over 1,000 not over 1,000, 966 visas were reserved by the Ray order. And many Goodluck plaintiffs who are in the Schengen area, South Africa, China, or Brazil will be able to benefit and get some of those visas too. So they won't be competing for Goodluck visas. But the reality is, even after you take those two factors into account, there's not going to be enough visas for all the plaintiffs. We have made really good arguments in our cross motion for summary judgment to expand the numbers, thanks to Banan on our team who spearheaded that. And Rafael and I are both confident that they are compelling arguments. And so the number of visas may be expanded beyond the 6,914. But what we've asked for, what we've been able to argue for on the facts is an additional like 3,000 or 4,000 visas. It's not the whole 14 or 15,000 that you're hoping for. So there are going to be Goodluck plaintiffs that are not issued a visa. That's a reality. Okay. You want to add anything?
No, I think you covered it pretty well.
Okay, great.
So, okay. Hi, Curtis and Rafael. I'm a 2022 selectee from Ghana. Between October and December 2021, the U.S. Embassy Accra issued 749 of the 2,325 for IV and non-immigrant visas, respectively. I find it very ironic how the embassy in Accra defined what their capacity is if they can issue 3,000 during this period and give less attention to DV selectees. So let me just, I'm going to try to put this down because this is a large question here. So we've been seeing the same thing in our scrutiny of the visa issuance statistics, that embassies are working and they're issuing a large amount of visas. In the Ray hearing, I argued that State Department is issuing 500,000 visas a month, between immigrant and non-immigrant visa categories. So they have resources to adjudicate visas, but they're not using those resources for diversity visas, and especially diversity visas for the year 2022. So it looks like many people are going to be without an interview and without a chance to make to secure their diversity visas. So we're encouraging people to sign up to get information about our forthcoming lawsuit, so that they can make decisions about how they want to proceed if they haven't been given a visa interview. So everybody, that's DV 2022, we encourage you to go to our website at Morrison Urena and sign up for the wait list to get information about a forthcoming lawsuit.
Good. Hekmatullah asks, when will the 9,095 visas will be announced? I think when you say announced, I think you mean issued. If it weren't for the appeal, processing will begin on April 18th with issuances as soon as May. So the 9,000 would be issued between May and September 30th. But because of that appeal, by the way, this is DV 2020 we're talking about. Because of that appeal, if the government gets a stay, that will be postponed. Judge Mehta gets the first chance to deny the government's motion to stay. If he denies it on March 4th, they're going to ask the circuit court. If the circuit court denies it, then they could ask the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court would probably ignore them because it's just not an important issue in the country compared to many of the issues that are before the Supreme Court. Which is related to the next question. What are the plans for the government appeals to the Supreme Court? In the US, the Supreme Court doesn't take all the cases. It only takes a very, very small percentage of cases that are appealed to it. And I mean, the plan would be us to fight. We would fight it, okay? But I wouldn't assume just because the government wants to go to the Supreme Court that the Supreme Court is going to want to go through all that.
So this is a specific question about Tesfaye v. Blinken. Once you participate on DV 2022 lawsuit in one of these smaller cases that we bring, is it necessary to join again for the coming lawsuits that you plan? I'm going to leave this question for Curtis. I don't know if you made any overtures to any of our plaintiffs about signing up for subsequent lawsuits.
Well, here's the deal. Once you are our client, we're going to move heaven and earth to get you a visa, and that could mean putting you on another lawsuit if you're okay with it. But it might not be necessary, as we've already seen with one Tesfaye plaintiff has been scheduled for an interview in Khartoum in April. They may decide to schedule the other 11 plaintiffs and make the case go away. So it's too early to really make a plan for what's next for Tesfaye. We have to see how the government's going to react completely, not just on that one visa, but the other 11 families. I had a question.
Is there any hope for Goodluck v. Biden plaintiffs? There is lots of hope. This time there's over 6,000 hopes.
Yeah.
So
it's always say it would be premature to give up hope until every visa is issued.
That's right.
Every reserved visa is issued. This is a variation of the question that we got earlier from Sajan. All Goodluck plaintiffs get DV 2021 visa. No, not all of you will get issued a visa. We will be fighting for as many of you as possible, and it's still unclear how many that will be because the judge reserved 6,914, but we have made arguments that it should be more. Are we optimistic that we would win an appeal in Gomez? Yes, we are very optimistic. The government's appeal in Gomez is ridiculous. And I don't even understand why they're wasting time with it.
Sharon asks, good evening. I'm a Venezuelan DV 2021 winner, and the embassy selected on my DS-260 was Rio de Janeiro. This country does not participate in the lottery. Is there any website where I can see how many winners are in this country? You can see, if you go to the DV, Save DV 2021 websites that have statistics, you can see how many visas are actually have been transferred to those posts by searching the metadata. It's very complicated, but there is a way you can do that and see how many have been assigned to the actual embassy in Rio de Janeiro by using the embassy code. If they haven't been transferred there and they were just awaiting to be transferred to the embassy, then you cannot tell. So it'll only be after the transfer.
Right. I get this question a lot. What about Muslim ban? There were a lot of DV 2020 selectees who were subject to Proclamation 9645 or 9983, known as the Muslim and African ban. And will their refusals or being subjected to those bans impact them once the Gomez DV 2020 processing resumes? We do not believe so. There's no reason that that would happen. The Biden administration has made clear that they are trying to make that right for the refusals for like other categories, right? Like the family preference categories. So we don't expect that they would punish you for that. So I would relax about that. If we see that that's happening, we're going to take action.
Just on that question, it looks like there was a total of 8 visas that were transferred to 8 selectees that were transferred to Rio de Janeiro in 2021. 4 were from South America, 1 was from Europe, 2 were from Asia, and 1 was from Africa. So only 8 in Rio de Janeiro.
See, the thing is that doesn't say how many are at NVC though. So it's
Correct.
really,
That's correct.
it's hard to know. I'm noticing questions only show up from Facebook and YouTube on our StreamYard, and I don't know where the questions for Twitter are at. So I'm sorry about that. Oh. What will happen to children who are now over 21 years old? Good luck, plaintiffs. There's something called CISPA, the Child Protection Act, and it will protect you for a period of time after you turn 21, but not forever. In the past, CISPA always protected DV children who turned 21 because of the nature of the September 30th deadline. With visas that are issued that are reserved after the end of the fiscal year, we don't know how that's going to work. And I don't think the government does. We had a hearing one time in front of Judge Mehta where we talked about it, and I felt like everyone on the call was just a little confused and no one really knew the answer. And so we kind of have to wait and see how the State Department will interpret aging out for DVs. Would you agree, Rafael?
I would agree.
Kamal is a plaintiff DV 2021. By plaintiff, I think you mean Goodluck plaintiff. And when will Nepal resume interviews? Great question. Goodluck, we have to win summary judgment first. So not soon. The soonest that we would expect Judge Mehta to issue an order on summary judgment would be April. It could be after that. But then when those visas are issued depends upon what his order says. He may give them a year to issue those visas. That's what he did with DV 2020. So we just need to wait. Now's the time to be patient. I know you've already been patient for years, but now's to be patient for a couple more months to see if we win summary judgment, and then we'll know.
Okay. Curtis, I think this is a good question for you. You kind of spearheading this with the government. While checking SEAC status, your search doesn't return any data. What does this mean for DV 2021?
Oh, we saw this with DV 2020 also. After September 30th, for reasons the government hasn't fully explained, some people's SEAC numbers disappear. We have filed what are called document retention letters for each DV 2020 and 2021 years, where we put the government on notice that they have to keep everybody's file and they can't discard it. And they have assured us that this is not going to be a problem when they resume processing for DV 2020 and 2021 years. It's just a glitch in the system right now. I would not worry about that. Abdul wants to know our strategy for the lawsuit for DV 2022. So does the government.
Abdul, we're working very, very hard on it. When we announce the lawsuit, we will fully explain to everybody the theories we will proceed on. We'll hold several Q&As during the onboarding process where we'll accept questions. And so you'll be fully informed of the theories we will proceed on. It is a bit premature to make that decision without knowing exactly what will be going on at the time we file the lawsuit. The lawsuit will require standing at the time we file. So much of our legal theories will have to be crafted around what exactly is going on at the time of filing. So just a bit premature. We're almost there, and we'll have plenty of time to discuss that with you. I believe our onboarding process will at least go on for a couple weeks, if not a month. And we encourage you to sign up for the wait list to get information about the lawsuit as well through email. And this is where you can find the wait list. I know you can't copy and paste this, but it's morrisonurena.com/DV-2022. And if you go to that website, you can sign up for our wait list.
Interest list. We call it interest list. Rafael calls it wait list. Stop it. This is a good question from Israel. What are the consequences of government's attorneys consolidating all the cases? And talking specifically about drawbacks. First of all, for those that don't know this, the government is trying to consolidate all the DV 2020 and the 2021 appeals into one case to argue at the same time. Rafael, you got a drawback?
I think the only drawback is that there'll be less time before the judges. But it may not be beneficial for the judges to have three separate arguments on these cases. I think a lot of it would be repetitive. But that may be one drawback on the case.
Yeah. The individual, when you have a lot of cases combined, each attorney will get less time to argue. And so we won't have as much time to argue. And that's but sometimes, the first 2 minutes of your argument is all that matters. And after that, people stop listening anyway. So sometimes less is more, right? For those that weren't following that situation, government filed a motion to consolidate all the cases. The Gomez attorneys opposed it. And we filed a notice of no position on behalf of Muhammad Fong, John Kennedy, Goodluck, and Ray, and other consolidated cases. And the reason we did that is we just figured the circuit court, they are in the best position to know how they want to hear this issue. Okay. We didn't feel like it's worth getting in a fight over it, an argument over it. Let's just let them do it the way they want to do it.
I have a question here. Can I file a lawsuit with you guys against the state for 2019 DV visas? No, you cannot. Unfortunately, our legal theories and the theories that the court has adopted do not allow you to get a visa after the deadline has passed unless you have filed the case before the deadline.
Right.
And you should be wary of an attorney who tries to sell you on a DV case before the deadline, or excuse me, after the deadline has passed.
Right. Right.
Because the case law just doesn't square with that. And I would be very wary of the attorney who tries to sell you on that.
For example, I tell about 100 DV 2021 selectees a day that their journey is over because they weren't plaintiffs and they don't benefit from the Ray order. A less scrupulous attorney may take their money, and we don't do that. Okay, if we don't see a viable path forward for your case, we just tell you the truth. So here's a question. I just saw Ivory Coast and I was excited. We don't get to talk to too many people from Ivory Coast. Thank you for your great work. Keep fighting to save our visas. Oh, no question. Thank you.
This was a question from Sagar. What could be the basis of selection after winning and getting final issuance of a reserve visa for Goodluck? Is it true that DQ will get preferred first or randomization? We do not know how the State Department is going to implement the order. It may be that they do not require a documentarily qualified an applicant to be documentarily qualified before scheduling an interview, or they may require it. We have to wait and see how they will begin implementing the Ray, Goodluck, and the Gomez orders for processing. So wait and see.
Right. I think one of there's multiple factors in how that's going to happen, like your case number and the embassy, the conditions at your embassy right now, whether or not they're doing routine processing. Right now, only 10 embassies in the system are doing routine processing. And by the time Goodluck is ready for those to be issued, it may be a different 10 or it may not even be any. So we just have to wait and see.
This is a question. What about DV 2021 from Russia? At this moment, Poland is closed for tourist visas from people from Russia and Belarus, so we cannot go to the Warsaw embassy. It's a little premature. Processing has not begun for anybody, but we recognize especially for our Goodluck plaintiffs, that's going to be a complication, and we will advocate for Russians to have an embassy in which they can attend an interview. That if Poland is close to them, they need to have a place that they can go to get an interview.
Right. I'm going to add that on Tuesday, I'm going to have a live stream with Christina Garzian on our team, and it'll be in Russian. She will translate. Subash says, DV 2020 have any hope still there? Because we're waiting too long. What will happen in the Gomez case? Please clear to us. Okay, let me be really clear. Do not give up hope until all the visas are issued. Okay? Some people say, oh, I'm going to go ahead and give up hope. Okay, bye. There's other people that will wait. Okay? So hang in there. Be patient. You'll know when they're issued. The State Department will say they're all gone, okay? And we'll have the case. There won't be a lawsuit anymore. We'll make it public. So just hang in there. Be patient.
I have a question here. So, is there no chance for non-plaintiffs, sir? I'm assuming for speaking about DV 2021. Unless you were at the 27 embassies highlighted in Ray that were the subject of the Ray order, if you are not a plaintiff, the journey is over for DV 2021.
Are you a plaintiff in Goodluck or Go?
Correct.
Right.
If you're a non-plaintiff,
right.
Unless you were at 27 visas. Correct.
I see what you mean. Right.
Yes. Yes, that's true. Hi, sir. When will you be filing the group lawsuit for DV 2022? We haven't had a firm date. but it's likely that we will have that date in April, and the lawsuit will be filed sometime probably in May. But we haven't had a firm date. Again, if you are interested in signing up for this lawsuit, please go to our website and sign up for the interest list.
Thank you.
Words matter.
Matt, huh?
Words matter.
Words matter. Yeah.
Words
Okay.
matter.
Okay. Manuel asked a question that is on the minds of some families that are in Goodluck. And what about the ones that have family changes since the order, since the end of the fiscal year for Goodluck, because we haven't got our final order yet. And unfortunately, the way the wording is in that order is those visas are only reserved for plaintiffs. So if you went out and got a spouse since then, or your spouse had a baby, or you had a baby, those additions to your family are not covered under this order, and they will not be eligible for one of those visas. Now, they still have an immigration path, though, because if you come to the U.S. On your DV visa, once you enter, you have a green card. Once you have a green card, well, I mean, you don't have it physically that day, but you have status as a lawful permanent resident. And as a lawful permanent resident, you can petition for your child, okay, or your new spouse. That takes time right now because of the backlog, but it is a path, okay? It's just going to be a longer, more difficult path, and we will work with you to discuss your options when we get there.
Yeah, and that's going to be very sad to see some family separation that goes on if that's the way they implement the order. And if need be, we will try our hardest to have those I-130s, if we do retain our office, to do I-130s after that, to expedite those to end that family separation as quickly as possible.
I think I've already answered this one. Sorry.
This is an easy one. Hello, Goodluck plaintiff from Armenia, not documentarily qualified, single. Do I still have any chance? Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
Chance.
Okay, let me make this easy for everybody. If you ask me if you still have a chance and there's one reserve visa that hasn't been issued, I'm going to say yes. Always. So I don't tell people they don't have a chance unless they.
Right. This is the way you determine if you have a chance. Are you a Goodluck plaintiff, or are you at the 27 embassies in Ray? If I'm answering yes to either of those, you have a chance.
Right. Thanks. Prashant asked, can 10,000 Goodluck plaintiffs get the visas? If Judge Mehta, the answer is, if Judge Mehta finds our arguments persuasive in our cross motion for summary judgment, that is what will happen. It's too early to know. He hasn't issued that order yet. I think that there's a question from YouTube. I'm getting texted here. Can I file a lawsuit with you guys against the state for 2019 visas? Actually, we've already got that question somewhere else. No. Any lawsuit for a DV year has to be filed before the end of the fiscal year. 2019 fiscal year ended September 30th, 2019. So you can't file a lawsuit for the 2019 DV year anymore.
Kamal has a question here. I'm a Goodluck plaintiff. I'm going to work in the United Arab Emirates, so can I transfer my interview to Dubai or Abu Dhabi? I'm imagining that Kamal was somewhere else. We'll have to wait and see how processing resumes when the orders are implemented to see how we're going to transfer. I imagine there will be some opportunity for individuals to transfer embassies once processing resumes. Now, if that's in your best interest or not is something we should discuss when the time comes.
A lot of duplicative questions here. Okay. This is someone asking about our two DV 2022 group lawsuits that we've already filed, Hamid and Tesfaye. To be known, does the State Department work properly as per the court order for Hamid? Well, there wasn't a court order in Hamid. What there was in Hamid is we filed a lawsuit saying what we wanted, and the State Department changed their policy and gave us what we wanted, and then reassigned all of our plaintiffs to other embassies, which is all we wanted. So all the Iraqi plaintiffs in Hamid were reassigned to other embassies. Unfortunately, State Department only changed that policy for DVs that were DV 2022 selectees that were waiting for Baghdad and were waiting for Kabul. And actually, they had already changed it for Kabul. They just announced it. So those two people that were waiting at those two embassies that filled those two embassies out on the DS-260, they have a procedure for changing their interview location. We have not found that to be the case with DVs from Ethiopia or Sudan yet, or assigned to Khartoum or Addis Ababa, but we are hopeful that that's going to be the result from the Tesfaye lawsuit, at least for those plaintiffs, but maybe for everybody. Or they could just open up Addis Ababa and Khartoum, and we're fine with that. That would be great.
Okay. Do we have a question here from Roland? Any advanced on BB Act? I'm assuming that's the Build Better Act. No, there's no advance. It appears the bill is dead, and we do not think that's going to be a viable, that legislative action is going to be a viable path for previous diversity visa selectees to get a visa at this time, unless something drastically changes in Congress and in the political climate here in the United States.
I'm a DV 2021 winner and not a plaintiff. Do I have a chance in the lawsuit? After Saab, the answer I can't give you without more information. I need to know whether or not you were assigned in your DS-260 to one of the 27 embassies that the Ray order gives relief to, Ray v. Biden. Okay, you can go to our website and see that order and see the list of embassies.
How about those whose derivatives are missing in the SEAC record? What shall we do for DV 2020? We got to wait and see how the processing is going to resume for the Gomez class, for Mohammed, Fanjung, and Kennedy plaintiffs, to make a determination on what we should do with those plaintiffs. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions about that, and they're going to have to give us a lot of answers on for individuals who have SEACs that disappeared and have no access to the DS-260, and there's going to be a lot of questions about that.
Sharon asks, does the appeals court give their decision immediately? How do appeals work? Generally, no. Appeals courts don't. No. They are generally more deliberative. They take their time, make sure they get decisions right. So, no. Oh, okay. Pay attention, DV 2022, because this may end up impacting you someday, because I know it impacted DV 2020s and now it's impacting DV 2021s again. So something went wrong in a medical exam, which is usually a false positive for a tuberculosis test that requires another exam later. Well, it just takes a few more months, okay? And unfortunately, a medical exam, your visa can only be issued for a 6-month period from the date of the medical exam. So if 6 months passes from the date of your medical exam, you're going to need another medical exam when DV processing resumes. We had some DV 2020 plaintiffs that ended up having 3 medical exams because of the way the timing ended up happening. Very frustrating because it's costly and it's sort of silly. You know, it's a waste of money, but it's the law.
What are you going? Oh,
I did that by accident. I don't know how to undo it when I do that by accident.
I think you just click it again and it hides it. But then I have to click on the question again to pull it back up.
All right.
Okay. So I'll go. What are you going to do? What are the courts going to do and judges going to do if KCC are not going to follow the order? For example, if they will not issue all visas in time. Well, if it appears that they're not going to issue the visas in time or that they're not complying with the order, the plaintiff's attorneys, Curtis and I and our team, will file a motion to compel to get a more definitive answer from the order from the judge, telling them what to do. If they don't follow that order, the judges can impose sanctions on the government, but they most likely will follow an order if the judge pushes on them to do it, and if they push on them twice to do it, they most definitely will get it done. So I don't anticipate that being a problem just yet.
Right. I don't see this question very often. How about those whose derivatives are missing in the SEAC record? What shall we do, DV 2020? I haven't seen that. If your derivatives are missing, I'm worried what that means. Does that mean your DS-260s were not submitted? I think it's too early to see what that means. We have to wait till processing resumes and get back into your SEAC and look at it.
I think the derivatives only appear once the case goes to the embassy, right? Is that when the derivatives?
Right, it's staying at NVC for the whole case number right now.
So we would need a little more information on that to give you a definitive answer. Here's a question. How much will you charge if the 2022 lawsuit will happen? We don't have a definitive answer just now. You can take a look at what we've charged in the past to try to get ballpark figures. But I encourage you to sign up at our website for the interest list. And as soon as we have the answers to those questions, we'll be sending you emails updating you on those cases.
Which reminds me of an important point. Someone mentioned to me the other day that they weren't going to sign up for the interest list because they couldn't afford a lawsuit. And if you talk to more than half of our DV 2021 clients, you'll find that we were able to defer payments for many of our DV 2021 clients. We don't know if we're going to be able to do that this year or what terms we're going to be able to do, but it's a good possibility. So don't let that stop you from signing up for the interest list. The purpose of the interest list is so you will be notified when we have an opportunity, because here's how we do lawsuits. When we have an opportunity, we announce it, we collect plaintiffs, and we file it, and it's over. And then for the next weeks up to years, I get phone calls every day saying, can I join the lawsuit? And I say, no, you have to join it when we're onboarding. So that's why it's so important to be on the interest list, so that you'll be notified when we're onboarding, because we don't let people get on our train after we leave the station, if that metaphor makes sense. I'll do one more quick. Kim says, I'm a DV 2021 winner and a plaintiff with a high case number. Do I have a chance? Yes. Remember, there was a DV 2021 case number in the 80,000s that was listed. So that's not the only factor that matters. Okay. Looks like we're caught up in questions. Am I right?
We are.
Roland says, fingers crossed that Judge Mehta gives a go to our last request. Yes, we hope that Judge Mehta grants us summary judgment. There was an update. Oh. There was an update in Goodluck summary judgment briefing today. 2 updates. We actually filed the appendix, which is the last thing that you do in summary judgment briefing, the joint appendix with the government. And then the second thing is the government filed a motion to ask the court permission to reply to our reply, which is, it's allowed in DC, but it doesn't happen very often. We don't know what the judge will do. We think that the filing is completely unnecessary. So
this also opens up perhaps 2 more briefs, because this was a 4-part briefing schedule. So we would have a SIR reply to their SIR reply.
Yeah.
In the briefing. So I don't know if the judge is going to buy it. It seems like we've briefed this issue in many cases already, ad nauseum. I don't know if the judge is going to want to hear more about this.
If you want my personal theory on the purpose of this filing, there were a few declarants that said things under the penalty of perjury, which is illegal, like it's a felony. Is it a felony? Perjury? I don't know. You could go to jail. So they said things that were not true, and these are government declarants. And what the government wants to do with this filing is set that right so that those declarants are not in trouble. That's my theory. Oh. So any more questions? Where are we at here? Oh, yep. I'm not sure what you mean by this question. He's asking about adjustment of status. And for those of you that don't know, AOS is adjustment of status. That's the USCIS process for giving a green card to a DV. They only do that for DVs that are located inside the US.
Here's a question that we're going to get a lot for DV 2022. If I'm already a participant in a lawsuit, and somebody joined 2 lawsuits, it depends on the legal theories that you brought before the court. So you will have to disclose which lawsuit you're a part of, and we'll have to make a decision of whether you can join the lawsuit or not. It's going to be difficult to have people in 2 different lawsuits, and I imagine 99% of the people will not be able to join 2 lawsuits.
Right. Wilson lawsuit is not a DV, and this live stream is about DV. But since we're low on questions, I'll go ahead and tell you the update on that. It's the same as it was a couple weeks ago. We're waiting for Judge Kogan to rule on the 2 pending motions, the government's motion to dismiss and our motion for expedited discovery.
Puya asked a question here. I'm not going to pull it up because it has some bad language in it, but it says, what happens to people who are assigned to a bad embassy, Ankara, if and when Judge Mehta issues his order? It really depends on how the State Department will implement the order. I imagine, this is what I imagine, that the State Department will have the discretion on how to process those visas. So more difficult embassies may be continue to be difficult to get visas from, but we have to wait and see how the processing will resume.
Great. Mr. Fate asked, that's a nice name. What about the closed embassies, Baghdad, and its effect on the saved visas DV 2021? Great question. I have a feeling that our lawsuit Hammond versus Blinken that got the State Department to change the reassignment policy for DV 2022 selectees that the State Department is going to use the same policy for DV 2020 and 2021 selectees once those program years are resumed. So we don't know yet. It's up to the State Department what they do. But I have a feeling that they're going to let you reassign. They're not. I know this will not happen. Baghdad is not going to start doing interviews again anytime soon.
Yeah, name those embassies. I understand. I understand from you.
I wasn't expecting the questions to be over.
Curtis, I think we'll discuss that after.
Florica asked, I'm a DV 2022 winner. Case number 1520, file DS 260, 30th May, nothing from case. Do I have a chance? Yes, you have a chance. My answer is always you have a chance as long as there are visas that are not issued, right? Oh, Rafael's playing around here.
Sorry, there was something on my screen and I touched it. I forgot how to switch.
No, that's fine. I wanted to do that anyway. Okay, so you have two options. You have three options, Florica. You can just be patient until they contact you for an interview. You could sign up for our interest list and be notified when we file a group case. Or since your case is already current, you could file an individual mandamus lawsuit with us. We charge $5,000 for that. And then if by chance the government decides to fight us, then we'll charge an extra $2,500 to oppose their motion to dismiss if you want to do that. We find that individual mandamus lawsuits have advantages over group lawsuits. They're more expensive, but they have advantages in that the government can make them go away just by issuing one family of visas. And so often that's what they choose to do.
We have a question here. Do you think what's happening in DV 2020, 2021, and 2022 will happen to DV 2023? I thought that they wouldn't do this to DV 2022 because they've lost on DV 2021 and DV 2020, but they continue to do it in DV 2022. I think what we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen in DV 2023 with the State Department's policies, first and foremost, and second, with what the outcome of the lawsuits for DV 2022. There may be lawsuits that say that they have to issue 55,000 visas a year, no matter what, and they may have to do that in DV 2023. We'll see. So it's early, and we're just unable to make a prediction of what's going to happen in the fiscal year 2023 at this time.
Okay, Sandeep asked, when can we get a final decision for Gomez case from Nepal? Sandeep, we got a final decision, and the judge told the government they had until September 30th to issue the 9,095 visas. That was the final decision. The government is appealing that decision. I understand. But if they do not get a stay of that order, processing resumes April 18th with issuances as soon as May.
I have a question here. I'm a derivative. My wife is a DV 2022 winner. My company wants to send me to the United States for work. Should I accept or wait? I would accept it. I wouldn't wait. If you come to the United States and suddenly you find your wife is able to come to the United States with you, and at some time down the road you decide that perhaps you want to stay here, and your adjustment of status may be an opportunity for you here in the United States. Also, if you continue consular processing, you can always return to the consulate and attend the interview there.
Imad says, hi, is there a timeline or forecast for when summary judgment order in Goodluck? There's a vague one that I say, but people often misinterpret it. I say not before April. What that's based on is this is not a quick and easy order to write. There are several issues involved and thousands of pages of government arguments that are bad arguments, but the judge still has to he has to explain his judgment in his order. Okay, so it's not reasonable to expect that order to come quickly. The judge has as much discretion as long as it takes him to do the order right. He gets that time to do that, okay? Or she gets that time to do that. But in Goodluck, I would not expect an order before April, and it could be after April.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
We've got one. I'm a DV 2021. My case number is 8220. That's great. I'm sorry. If you're DV 2021, whether or not you have a path forward depends upon two pieces of information you did not give me. It depends on whether or not you are a plaintiff in Goodluck or Go, or if your embassy location that you chose on your DS-260 was one of the 27 embassies that are protected by the Ray order. So you didn't give me either of those pieces of information.
Because, okay, I think
What's happening?
we'll answer the questions.
Did you put that one?
Yeah, I did. Hi, let's say the government loses the appeal and the stay of motion. Do you think they can issue all 9,095 visas before September 30th? What if they fail to do so? I think they can. Like I said in the Ray arguments, that the State Department has the resources to issue 500,000 visas a month. If they can do that, they can issue the 9,095 visas before September 30th, certainly. We've seen them issue 7,000, 8,000 visas in a month pursuant to Goodluck and Gomez orders. So they certainly can get it done. What if they fail to do so? If they fail to do so and they made a good faith effort to get it done, I think the judge will give them a little more time, but they're going to be on a short leash, so to speak, and they'll have to get that done rather quickly. So I imagine it wouldn't take any more than another month to get those all issued.
We have a follow-up to the question that was missing the information. She is a Goodluck plaintiff, DV 2021 Goodluck plaintiff. No matter what your case number is, you have a chance. If you wanted a probability, it's like between 35 and 40% chance right now that you'll get a visa if we win on summary judgment. But there are so many factors that's really a rough estimate, because we don't know what the embassy conditions at your embassy are going to be when we finally get summary judgment. Lots of factors. So keep the hope. We'll continue fighting. We will not get summary judgment before April, probably, and then the judge's order will specify when those Goodluck visas will have to be issued, by what time. He could give them 6 months. He could give them a year.
This is a question that I get a lot. I see a lot. How will Goodluck reserve visas allocated worldwide wise, regional wise, or country wise? I don't believe that they could. Countries would be able to break their allocations because of the Goodluck order. Yeah. But I don't think there's going to be a distribution, some sort of policy distributing visas outside of that. And I think it's going to depend a lot on operational capacity, but we'll wait and see. We have to really wait and see on how they're going to implement the order. Oh, sorry, Curtis.
Okay. Well,
I'll let you go back to when you were at.
While Liberians, DV lottery winners, always the victims, is it the ambassador or the government weakness? I would not say it's the ambassador. I think 95% of the problems we see at embassies are caused by the visa office. Consular officers are usually like really great people, and everybody that's working at an embassy. If you go to work in foreign service, if you're grow up in the U.S. and you go to work in foreign service, it's usually because you're a good person and you believe in diversity. So I'm hesitant to blame an embassy. I see most of the policies that embassies are forced to implement come out of D.C. They come out of Kentucky. They come out of Washington, D.C. That's where your problems are.
What do you think, Abdul asked, what do you think the posture of the State Department will be in light of Russia and Ukraine in terms of consular services around the world? I think the Ukrainian-Russian conflict isn't going to affect most consulates around the world. I think regional consulates in the Balkans and in that area in Eastern Europe will see an influx of family petitions for Ukrainian American families wanting to leave. But I think, and then we'll see we've seen the Moscow embassy hasn't been functioning, and they've already been transferred to Poland and Warsaw. So that's already been happening. But I think the most embassies will not have any change in their posture.
Someone says, I'm a winner of DV. I lost my email, which I gave KCC. That's a problem. I believe that there's a procedure to recover that situation. Hussein on our team knows how to do that. The first step would be to email KCC if you haven't done that already. From the local news media, I heard the U.S. government is working on imposing sanctions to Ethiopia due to the ongoing war, which include immigration. So how can we be safe from such sanctions? I have not heard that news. Have you heard that news, Rafael?
And we would have to see what exactly those immigration sanctions will be before we can give you a definitive answer on how to stay safe from those.
Right. But there's something, only worry about things that you can control. We can't control sanctions. Okay. Do Goodluck plaintiffs from countries that receive their 7% quota have a chance to get saved visas? Zara, great question. I would say yes, because when they issue more visas, that's going to increase the number of visas available for that 7% ratio quota. So it would be premature to give up hope before all the Goodluck visas are issued. If it's called HR 6600, that means it's a House resolution. That means it's before Congress. And just because a bill is before Congress, that doesn't mean it's going to pass. Most bills before Congress do not pass, which means they do not become law. So I'll get one last question in here. Presuming the motion to stay is granted, God forbid, what will happen to our case? Great question. What will happen is Rafael and I and our team will continue to fight the case. I don't know which case you're on. We will continue to fight Ray and Mohammed, John Kennedy, consolidated with Gomez. Goodluck. We'll continue to fight all the cases at the appeal court level and beat the appeal. We feel confident that we will be able to win the appeals. And at that point, it'll go back to the district court judge, and the district court judge will tell them to issue the visas again. And that concludes our hour. So thank you, everybody.
We'll see you soon.
Yep. See you soon.